Right, so I've just got back from watching 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and I'll say it's not a bad film. It's a lot better than the previous one. I really did not like the previous one. I thought it was a bit too campy, a bit over the top, a bit silly. This one takes a bit of that away and makes it a bit more grounded, a little bit more like brutal and real. And that's kind of what I wanted from a 28 days, years, whatever weeks film. I wanted that groundness, that nastiness, that feeling from the first one, and this one gives you a lot more of that. So this film, we've got kind of two separate stories going on that obviously collide together as we get to our climax. So we've got the Doctor, who's back, and he's living the same as he did in the previous film. He's got his bone temple. He's just doing his work where he sort of like tries to honour the dead with his temple of bones sort of thing. And he's just enjoying himself. And he comes across the alpha male infected, and he shoots him with a dart, and of course that causes the alpha male sort of like, because there's like morphine in the dart, and it calms the alpha male down, probably stops him feeling whatever pain that the infection's given him. And he sort of sits with the Doctor, and they sort of have a moment. The Doctor sort of helps because he's got a few arrows in him, so it helps him get better, sort of thing. And then the Doctor sort of lets him go on his way, sort of thing. But the alpha comes back, and the Doctor's like, it's a bit weird, and he comes back, but he sort of like wants him to shoot him. So the Doctor shoots him again with another dart to give him the morphine again, and the alpha just sits and chills, and the Doctor talks to him. And there starts to become this weird sort of like connection between the two. And the Doctor's kind of like noticing some things about this alpha that's not the same as the others, and he sort of just sits talking to him. And every night, the alpha comes back and he injects him again. And they have these conversations. And that's pretty much their story of the film for the first half of this movie, is these two just getting doped up and then being together, even to one point where the Doctor gets doped up as well, falls asleep, wakes up, and the alpha hasn't killed him, he just left. So it's like, sort of like, is the alpha learning? Is there something going on here, a bit more going on here? And we find out obviously later there is. Now, this is a spoiler episode, all right? This review is a massive spoiler thing. So if you have not watched the film already, please, I hope I haven't spoiled anything already, but please, like, come back later and after you've watched the film, or if you don't care, hang around, or if you've watched the film, you kind of want to know what I've thought about it, stay here. So this is spoilers. Right, so the second story we've got going on is the Jimmy's story. And this is the bit that kind of put me off in the last film, because when I first saw the Jimmys turn up at the very end of the last film, I audibly laughed, because I was like, why is that Jimmy Savile? And it just made me laugh. I couldn't get the image of Jimmy Savile out of my head. And it really, partly, that's probably why I don't like that previous film so much, because it left me with this sort of like ridiculous, what is that all about feeling. Well, anyway, we meet the Jimmys now. And Jimmys turn out to be this weird satanic cult that dress a bit like Jimmy Savile, but they refer to themselves as the Jimmys. All of them are called Jimmy. They're sort of like, they've adopted names. Now, the leader, who's called Jimmy Crystal, he's convinced the others that he's the son of Satan, and that he's been talked to by Satan in the head, and he's going to lead them all in this sort of like way to honour Satan, because they think, because of the infected and all the stuff that's happening in the world, they think that the Satan won the war and he's taken over and he's like the new god. So that to appease him, they have to sort of like find souls to send to hell. So to do this, they kill people. And it is quite horrific, some of the stuff they do. I mean, they kill people, they skin people, they do barbaric stuff to them. It's not nice at all. Well, anyway, so Spike from the previous film is stuck with these guys. We saw him sort of find Spike at the end. And what Spike has to do to be in with the Jimmys, he has to kill another Jimmy. It's kind of like their way of being. There can only ever be 7 of them. So Spike has to fight and kill another Jimmy. And as luck would have it, he actually manages to do it. So they're in like an old abandoned pool. They set up so they two have like knives each, have a knife fight. Now the guy's fighting's a lot bigger than him, a lot stronger. So he starts bashing Spike around, like mocking him and being horrible as he's about to kill him. But Spike, quick thinking, pulls the guy's trousers down. And with the shock of that, the guy's like, oh my God. And Spike grabs a knife and sticks it in his leg. And he just luckily happens to catch the main artery in the leg. And the other guy sort of just starts pumping blood out of his leg and bleeds out. So Spike's now in the group. And he's a Jimmy, so they give him the Jimmy wig and the Jimmy tracksuit and all that. And he's now part of them. But he has to sort of follow them around and do the things they do, which is horrific, nasty stuff. It's really horrible. Like, they descend on this farmhouse and they're sort of sitting there having dinner with all these farm people, like, and the people that live there obviously know they're in trouble. And Jimmy says, we saw it in the trailer, he says he's going to kill them. Like, I'm gonna kill you all. So they try and fight back, don't. One of the girls escapes, pregnant woman escapes and legs it. And they don't catch up with her. So then you see them in the barn, and they've tied up everyone from the farm in the barn, and they call it charity. They're going to do to them, and they basically decide they're going to skin them alive because Jimmy hears the voice in his head from Satan telling him he's got to skin them alive, and they skin these guys alive. And it's a horrific and nasty scene. You don't see it, but you see enough of it to go, oh my god, like that sort of thing. It's not nice at all. So you get to the last one, and Jimmy offers this guy a chance to fight, like to become a Jimmy. He's like, oh, well, you can join me. If you can beat one of our lads, you can become one of us. So the guy sort of opts there because he's got another option. He's basically going to die in a horrific way or join them. It's that sort of option. So he decides he's going to join them. And while he's fighting this girl, Jimmy, she gets a better him because she's a nasty piece of work, this one. The girlfriend of him, the pregnant woman that escaped her, is actually in the rafters of the barn. And she has this big hook. And she sends this hook down. It's the girl in the back end and kills her. And of course, then all the Jimmys go mad. They're trying to find her, kill her, and she manages to escape. They send young Spike after her, and he's about to kill her, but then decides not to. Asks her to take him with. She says no, punched him in the stomach, and then runs away. We don't see her again, but I think she's going to come back in the next movie. So there's too much to that character to not bring her back. So I think that's going to be an interesting one for the next movie. So now we've got the sort of Jimmys now sort of like want to go find someone else. Now they send off one of the female Jimmys to go look for someone else to kill, basically. And she finds the bone temple, and she sees the doctor with all his red iodine on him, which is to stop infection. And she sees him walking around with the Samson. He's like now pet, I suppose, infected. And she's like, what? And because of all this Satanist stuff, she thinks he's the devil, that the doctor's the devil, and he's got a minion of the infected, and he's like worshipping him. And he's got this big bone temple, so you can understand why she's, with the story she's been fed from Jimmy Crystal, she can see the devil. So it's quite funny. So she goes back and says, look, I've found Satan. I've found him in human form. He's down there. So Jimmy's like, well, we'll go see this, because obviously Jimmy Crystal is kind of bullshitting them all really to this cult thing because he's a sick nutter. So they all go to this bone temple and they see it. So then they're like, well, we're going to have to go talk to him and stuff and meet him. And Jimmy Crystal's like, holy crap, like, what do I do now? Because like, it looks like Satan. It could be Satan. I need to go and sort this out and talk to this guy before they do, so I can sort something out, because otherwise they're going to cotton on that I'm not really the son of Satan. I've been saying that because whatever reason, I'm nuts. So he's going to go sort him. Now, also, at the Bone Temple, a doctor has realised that our infected, it's not what they originally thought. It's like, the mind is clouded by the infection, but the real mind is still there. The old brain is still in there. And he works this out because he's going to kill Samson. He's basically said, I'm running out of morphine. This is going to be the last chance we're going to get to do this. I've got to offer you a chance to kill you and like end his suffering. So he gets in, he was about to inject him. And as he goes to inject him, Samson looks at the moon and says, moon. M-O-O-N, that spells moon. If you're a Stephen King fan, you know what I just referenced. So he's now like, oh my God, there's like a person in there, because he remembered moon. So then the doctor goes and does a bit of research, goes through his books and finds out about psychosis during infection and stuff like that, and gets a load of pills together that might bring Samson back. So he gives Samson the pills, Samson goes off, and then Jimmy turns up and speaks to the doctor and says to the doctor, like, are you Satan? The doctor's saying like, no, my name's Ian. And they have a little back and forth. And I've got to be honest with you, Ralph Fiennes in this film is phenomenal, and him working with this Jimmy guy is a great scene of them just sitting there talking in their crazy mixed up world. It is such a good scene, and that was where I was like, this film is actually pretty bloody good, because Jimmy's a little bit funny, like Jimmy Crystal is a little bit funny, a bit sarcastic, and like the aura he has slips every so often, and he comes out with something really hilarious. So then you've got Ralph Fiennes, who's just like got that doctor's tone that he does the whole way through. And he's like, well, yeah. And they basically strike a deal, because Jimmy now works out he's not Satan and he's just a normal guy. And he says to him, look, I need you to pretend to be Satan. If you don't, I'm going to kill you. So you pretend to be Satan. I'll bring my lot down here. You do what I tell you to do, and everything will be okay. And I'll walk away and leave you alone. And we'll strike a deal. And Dr. Ian, he's like, yeah, sounds like a good plan to me. So he goes into his little house, and he's got like a vinyl record player, and he pulls out Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast album, and I was just like, yes, because I love that album. I've got that myself. I was a big Iron Maiden fan. I actually went to see him in concert a few times. I remember seeing him at Reading, like a good few years ago now, and they played all their old stuff, and this was there, and it was like one of the biggest hits of the night. It was fantastic. So he gets the Number of the Beast record out, puts it, and he sets his whole thing up where he's almost like a crazy stage show metal concert. So he plays Number of the Beast, and you get the whoa sort of opening. Whoever has a number, whoever has something reckons the number of the beast. It's a human number, 666. And he comes out. He's got all this theatrical stuff going on. He's set up fire traps. So it looks all crazy. It is mental. It's like a proper rock concert in the middle of this film. And the Jimmies are all like, oh my God, like what the hell is going on here? Like, this is great. And they're sort of worshipping it because they think they're Satanists, and there's Satan in front of them, and he's really got the gear on. And then he sort of has to stop, and he has to talk to him. So he talks to Jimmy, and he says the things Jimmy wanted him to say. But he says to him, like, look, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to keep killing all these people. And you can see he doesn't want to say it, but he knows they're going to kill him if he doesn't. But he hasn't seen Spike with him, because Spike's wearing a mask the whole time, and he hasn't realised it's Spike. So the Doctor's still doing the stuff that Jimmy's asked him to do, and he's saying, oh, you're going to worship me and keep doing what we're doing. We're going to hurt and injure people, and then follow Jimmy, my son Jimmy, to the end. So it's a big rouge, a big trick. And then bloody Jimmy's like, okay, this is cool. And then suddenly the Doctor looks at Spike and sees him, and he's like, he walks over to him and he sort of lifts up his mask, and he's like, Spike. He's like, yeah. He's like, so he puts, like, comes back and goes, I've got something else that we need to do. Well, as I am God now, my son was, the previous God's son was sacrificed on a crucifix. I think we need to do that too. And you're my son, I'm going to sacrifice you. So he turns it all on Jimmy. And Jimmy's like, what? No. And it's like, where he's going like, no, stick to the plan. And he sort of like outs it, that, you know, it's all a big rouge sort of thing. And the others turn on him, and Jimmy ends up getting crucified. And it's a proper nasty way of doing it. But I loved it. I loved that whole scene from when they walk into that bone temple, that Iron Maiden, because they played pretty much the entire Iron Maiden song as he's doing his crazy theatric stuff. The speech from Ray, I think Ray Fiennes is having the most fun he's ever had in his life in an acting job in this. He is enjoying every second of this, because he's coming up with the most crazy, stupid stuff, and it is brilliant. They must have just got the camera gone, go. And Ray Fiennes just went, okay, he's sick of playing Voldemort, all that boring stuff. He's just like, I'm just going to go mental with this role. And he does some crazy stuff. I mean, everyone in this film is good. The previous film, it's kind of, this one is good. Like the Jimmy guy, the one-liners he comes out with, the sort of sarcastic tone he's got, the sort of, it's that, the best villains to me are the ones that are kind of funny and evil. I've always liked that in a villain, like Scar's like sarcastic wit in The Lion King, you know what I mean? Someone like that was nasty and evil but funny. Spike in Buffy, when he's in season 2 where he's the evil one, he was hilarious. I love that. Even the mayor in Buffy as well, that sarcastic funny tones they have. That's the villains I like, the funny ones. So the Joker in Batman, there's a classic example. I don't know why I didn't like the first one I thought of. So we've got, and they all turn on Jimmy, they get rid of him. And then, sadly, during the fight to get rid of Jimmy, the Doctor gets stabbed and he's about to pass away. Now, while this is going on, we go back to the train where our Samson has gone back to, because he's obviously had all these pills and they're starting to work. So he goes back to the train where he must have first become infected, because he kind of sits in the train chair and he kind of has like a vision or like a flashback to being on the train I'm not sure if he's the kid or the dad, I couldn't work out. But he's sitting on the train and there's a dad, a kid and a mum, and they're all like talking, and he's looking at a book. Oh, he's the kid, sorry, he's the kid. He opens up this book and it's a picture of the moon in it. So obviously that's where he says moon. And he's on the train and this woman comes down and she's like, ticket woman, she's asking for tickets. And he sits there looking at her and he's sort of almost like he's hallucinating. And you can sort of look down the train, you can see like an infected running down the train. So obviously it's killing people. That must have been how he got turned on this train. And he's sitting there and he looks at the woman and he's like, I don't have a ticket. And then you see the real world and there's loads of infected coming towards Samson, looking at him. And obviously because he's now clear of mind, the infected see him as a human and they attack him. Because Samson's this big giant alpha, he just fights back and just kills the infected, just runs through them all like nothing and kills them all. And it kind of goes dark for a bit, and then we see him a little bit later on. He comes out just covered in blood, and he's like, but he's beat all these infected off. And then he goes down into sort of like, he sort of heads back to the Bone Temple. So obviously, he's been stabbed, he's laying there. Now, Spike, and the one Jimmy that was kind of on his side, she kind of helped him out through it all, like give him a break when he sort of didn't feel well about when he watched all the sort of skinnings happened. She's also sort of kind of backed him up a lot all the way through because obviously he's so little. She's left as well because she obviously helped kill Jimmy. They put him to the cross, and she refers that her name's Kelly apparently, so it's not Jimmy anymore. She's now Kelly. She takes the wig off and that, and those two leave. And then we see that Jimmy's upside down the cross because it's an upside down cross because he's Satanist. And suddenly Samson comes back and he looks at Jimmy, and Jimmy, because he's like hallucinating now on this cross, sees him as the devil. So he sees this big giant hulking infected, covered in blood, which kind of looks like red like skin like the devil, and he sees like horns on him, which he's imagining on him. And then obviously Samson goes down to the doctor who's dying. He says like, thank you, and the doctor's like, oh yeah. Then the doctor dies, so Samson scoots on and walks away with him. We don't see them after that, but it'd be nice to see in a future film Samson. I don't know how they're going to bring Samson into it, but it'd be interesting to see, because Samson's now kind of a cured infected, so that's interesting, really interesting. And obviously in the previous film we had that baby who could possibly be, who was born of an infected woman who's still alive, so maybe there's a cure in there as well. Maybe. So this is an interesting one. So for like future films, obviously we know this is a trilogy. There's going to be 3 of these 28 years later films. So yeah, so now we've got like, he walks off and you see Jimmy's just like, oh, looking around. And I was like, there's going to be a jump scare. Because a couple of jump scares in this film, but I kind of thought, when I saw Jimmy on that cross, he just sort of look around, I was like, we're going to get a jump scare, we're going to get a jump scare. He's looking at the sky, and suddenly you just go, wow, it's like an infected runs at him. Scared the crap out of me. I was like, I'm going to take a sip of my drink at this point. So then we just sort of like stop for a bit. And then we see this old farmhouse. And I was like, that's the farmhouse from the end of the first one. I was like, that is the farmhouse from the end of the first one, where they sort of lay out the blanket and you see the helicopter go over and Cillian Murphy's there from the first, like this is the original, like we're talking like 28 days later. And he's there with that young girl and Celine, I think her name was. And they're sort of looking at the plane. That was the end of the first original movie. Well, we go back to that farmhouse and there's a young girl in there doing like homework, what it looks like. And then you see Cillian Murphy for the first time since the original 28 Days Later movie. And he's there. He's there. And you're like, oh my gosh, you don't see the other girl, the young girl, and you don't see, I swear her name was Celine. I could be wrong. Don't see her either. But you see Cillian Murphy, and he's teaching his daughter about history. He's teaching about World War II and World War One and how history repeats itself and we should learn from history and all that sort of stuff, quoting Churchill and stuff. And I was still like, and it felt like the original. I don't know what it was. It kind of had a different feeling. And they're sitting there, suddenly the girl goes, can you hear that? And Cillian's like, you know what to do. So they grab a gun, she grabs a knife, and they go outside. They've got like the sniper scope. And they can see his horde of infected running. And there's like those infected over there. And so the girl goes, they're chasing someone. And when you look, it's really in the distance. They're only little small things, but you can see Spike and this Kelly are running from the infected, trying to jump over all and keep going. And the daughter says, should we help them, Dad? And he's like, yeah, we should. And that's when it ends. And you're like, so we've now got the original movie coming into contact with the current stuff, and it's going to be good. So this third part is going to be brilliant, I think. I think this, and it's going to have that feel. They play the original music as the title credits roll, like that 28 Days Later music. I can't even do the song, but you know the song I'm on about. They play that, and I was like, whoa. So I left the cinema thinking, yes, I want the next one now. So, as I said, I did not enjoy 28 Years Later as much as I wanted to. And then this one, I feel, has redeemed it and brought it back to the original world. So we've got these two characters, Spike and Kelly, that are going to join with Cillian Murphy and that. But Kelly is a strange one. She's still very much, she's crazy, put it that way. She's violent, crazy, nasty. So it's going to be interesting if she can like adapt to Cillian Murphy's way of being quite calm and logical. So that's an interesting one. Obviously, Spike could be between the two of them, trying to cement them together. We've also got Spike's dad doesn't show up. The whole village from the first movie isn't in this at all. So that's an interesting one as well. Are they going to go back to that? Are we going to get like this lot go into that village to get help? And obviously, as I said, you've got the baby there that could be immune to the virus. We've got Samson who's still around there somewhere. So they can't be that far away if Spike and Kelly have run there from the Bone Temple. They can't be that far away. So that's interesting to see. Also, what's happened to Selene? Where's the other young girl? Where have they gone? That's interesting to know, because we saw the helicopter see them, and we know that in 28 weeks later, they've sort of quarantined London. Everyone's kind of there, and everyone's been brought there to get over the virus. So that's interesting. It's very interesting. I'm very interested to see where this goes now. I kind of like want the next one. I don't know if it's out next year or not, but I know that there's the trilogy and they're going to be coming out one after the other. So I'm guessing it might be out next year, and that is going to be a interesting film. So I was quite happy with that. Also, great trailers at the start of this one. Trailer for Primate, which looks like a bloody good horror film about a chimpanzee that goes nuts and kills people. There was Scream 7 trailer, and another one. Oh, what was it called? It had the guy that was in Teen Wolf, who's in Maze Runner and all that stuff. And he's this horrible, nasty boss. And he crash lands on a desert island with sort of the employee that he's been really having a go at, and she then becomes the boss on the island. She like takes over. She's like a survival expert or something by the looks of it, and then she goes on this like crazy hunt, and he becomes the sort of downtrodden one. But it's a horror film by Sam Raimi. Looks all amazing, so I'm going to be watching that. Can't remember what it was going to be called. Send Help, that's what it's called. So that's the one to look out for as well. But anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of this movie. Did you enjoy this one as much as did you prefer the last one? Which one did you think was better? Can you see where this next one's going? So there's my thoughts and theories that we're going to see the sort of team up those guys. They're going to go back to the original island. Otherwise, what was the point of all that? So, and also there's that girl that escaped who was pregnant. That's interesting as well. What's going to happen with her? Because she got away. So I just feel she's coming back at some point as well. I don't feel like we're done with her. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you see any good trailers at your local film. I don't know why I haven't talked about the trailers, but I thought it was quite cool. I sat in for 3 trailers in a row that I actually thought was quite good. So that's a rarity. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Put your comments and stuff, like the video, and we're on Facebook now, so check us out on Facebook. It's still Gambrellion, it's just on Facebook now. Bye.